This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Plumb out of babe songs. This is Wretched Radio. I know your heart is broken. Or not. If you have never pulled the trigger to sponsor a Tomorrow Club, would today be the day you consider visiting tomorrowclubs.org/wretched? Put together a little video presentation just pour vous so that you can see what is going on in Eastern Europe, bringing the gospel to these children who are in rough places. I mean, rough. Whether it is the orphanages, whether it is the little villages, whether it is for the Roma, the gypsies who are not well liked, whether it is in poor places like Armenia. Wow, did we ever just see a video from Armenia? Oh, wow. Poor. We don't get poor here in the United States compared to poor there. The Tomorrow Club's bringing the gospel to those places where not many missionaries go. If you've never supported a Tomorrow Club, 30 disciples a month, $30. They disciple these kids. They work with these kids all the way through elementary, through junior, through senior high, to even give them skills so that they can learn how to function in the world. And they are constantly discipling them, preaching the gospel. And how many stories have we heard of people who got saved through a Tomorrow Club, and now they actually work leading a Tomorrow Club? A lot. So thank you if you have become a sponsor. If not, would you consider it? tomorrowclubs.org/wretched. I'm sorry. Struggling to get through that a little bit because I'm trying not to be smug again.
Uh-oh.
My theory continues to hold up from BBC.com. Watching my son become my daughter. It's a story, it's a story of a mom who encouraged now look at me, I'm getting all my pronouns goofed up, who encouraged her son to become a daughter. This just supports my little theory. There's always a mom behind it. Always a mom behind these stories. Pushing. It is one of the cruelest things, frankly, a mother can do. Speaking of a thing we should perhaps not do, very fascinating presentation on whether or not we should actually call transgender people from the public discourse. I thought this was worth our consideration. Maybe you remember wrestling with the whole transgender issue when Bruce said, "I now want to be called Caitlin. Should we call him that name?" And I took some time to think through it, and my answer was no, I don't think so, because I do not want to encourage his mental illness. That's like me saying, yeah, okay, yeah, you can think that you can actually become a girl. By the way, speaking of potentially the most tragic story yet in this whole sexual revolution, confusion that we're seeing these days, have you seen the story of, I want to make sure that I guess it doesn't matter, frankly. It's a woman who became a man. No, it's a man who became here it is. I got it right here. Hold on. Here it is. Transgender man identifies as female hippopotamus. That's right. This man is transitioned into becoming a hippopotamus. A University of Arizona visiting scholar. I hope that little stay doesn't last long for the sake of the reputation of the U of A. Published an article in a peer-reviewed journal about how she identifies as a hippopotamus. She started identifying herself as a lesbian hippo stuck in the body of a trans male as a way to escape the several sets of categorization that govern human bodies, like gender, sexuality, and age. The article delves into why this person can't socially exist as a hippopotamus, but why, because of self-determination, she should be able to. That's right. We're going to encourage mental illness. This man thinks he's a female hippopotamus. And I've got the quote. It's clearly the individual has challenges. And yet, in a peer-reviewed journal, let's encourage the fella to be a female hippopotamus. Perhaps we shouldn't be participating in it by playing the name game. Again, this is from the public discourse. The war of worldviews is often fought based on who defines the terms. Those who control the language control the terms of the debate. Words create and confirm ideas. And if new words can give meaning to new concepts, over time these concepts become unquestionable as we grow accustomed to their usage. Example, no-fault divorce. Have you ever seen a divorce where nobody was ever at fault? No, you haven't. There's always sin involved. What was the point? Why that name? Well, it just made it easier. Nobody's at fault. It's a legal mechanism that makes the dissolution of a marriage a little bit tidier. And we understand what happened because of it. Marriage has become undermined. Divorce has become easier. It used to be taboo. Now it's like, whatever. Did you think about divorce? Because it's really hard, huh? She's really a nag, is she? Have you thought about divorce? No fault? I mean, even though she's a nag, it's a no-fault divorce. Quick time. It won the day. What about safe sex? It's not safe just because there's potentially the risk of disease being eliminated or an unintended pregnancy. There's another one, unintended pregnancy. What is that? What difference does it make? Is it a baby or isn't it? Are you pregnant or aren't you? Well, it was unintended. Therefore, it doesn't really count and I can abort it. Back to the public discourse, where gender dysphoria was once considered an ailment associated with gender identity disorder, which was a pathology. Corporal Klinger disease. Activists have politicized medicine to make what was once a pathology into an identity, a worldview, a political virtue. So the label transgender not only denotes the positive affirmation of a mental illness, it communicates a metaphysical fiction seeking acceptance and adoption throughout all channels of the culture. Now remember, if you wonder how is it that a peer-reviewed journal can endorse a man who thinks he's a female hippopotamus, how can we so deny and reject what is obvious? It's because we've already rejected and denied something that's more obvious, that God exists. Once you cross that line, this is a man being a female hippopotamus, that ain't nothing. Of course it looks like a dude. But he says that he's a chick hippopotamus, so I guess that's what he is. And you say, well, that's insane. Exactly. The world is an insane asylum because of the fall. They reject God. They suppress the truth in unrighteousness. To accept a man as a female hippopotamus, that ain't nothing compared to denying God, which is so obvious, so totally simple for the most basic of intellects to get it. There's a stuff maker. Day after day, creation preaches. Now, the reason why people insist they are trapped in the wrong body is that the transgender paradigm, psychology dictates ontology. What you are doesn't determine what you are. What you think you are determines what you are. Self-perception, that determines reality. Well, that's just crazy. So now we've got these pictures on magazine covers. It's a man who's pregnant. Well, no, she's a woman, but she's sort of dressing like a guy, calls herself a man, and so now we say a man is pregnant. That's just bonkers. Why are they winning the day on this? Why is this so It's because of the language. They've co-opted the language. They've created the language. And they made something that is irrational the norm. Consider the phenomenon of celebrating the birthdays of transgender individuals, not on the date of their natural birth, but on the date when they chose to publicly disclose their new identity. That's their actual birth date. So by implication, the person belonging to his or her former gender no longer lives. And you say, well, that's crazy. Do you know that the Anglican Church is actually writing new baptismal vows for people who become transgender to get baptized? as their new gender because apparently they don't exist as the old one anymore. Cuckoo, cuckoo. And we do not help them by participating in this language game. Christians should not accept the validity of the word cisgender. You and I'm a boy. I identify as a boy. You know what I am? Normal. You're a girl, you identify as a girl. You know what you are? Normal. But when they say, no, you're cisgender, what have they done? They've given you a label. They put you into a classification no different than transgender, transsexual, or any other one of the sexualities. Maybe, just maybe, I don't think this is going to stem the tide, but maybe, just maybe, we should be wary of the word transgender and not even by using it give them the impression that your mental illness is the norm. Until tomorrow, go serve your king.
Thanks for listening to the Wretched segment du jour. If you'd like more Wretched, you can listen to the most current stream for free at wretched.tv/listen, or you can become a club member and listen to our entire archive. Wretched, reaching the lost, equipping the saints, and strengthening the local church.